Hello, dear friends. The transmission of knowledge is my main soul contract, but everyone has their own, and each mission is different. When one discovers his life mission and fulfills it, he feels happy and relieved, even if it costs work, and focuses towards the path of his spiritual self-realization throughout the karma yoga or selfless action, although each one needs to earn a living with its work. Opinion piece. Soul contracts. The soul chooses a bumpy road, then regrets so many difficulties. Things often get worse before they get better. Things don't look the same from above as they do from below. But suffering disappears when the lesson is learned. It is possible to free oneself from ancestral agreements throughout willpower. Negative soul contracts can be revoked and sovereignty reclaimed. Let's start. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, and this life you are experiencing now is just a small chapter in your soul's trip. You have incarnated here many times before, and the driving force behind all your experiences are soul contracts. The term soul contracts can sound unpleasant because the soul often chooses hard experiences to accelerate its evolution, and then we regret having set such difficult challenges, or we simply haven't read the fine print of the contract and have thrown ourselves like suicidal kamikazes into the hell of the third dimension, because things don't look the same from above as they do from here. Some people can't stand it. And take their own lives. Others become evil from so much suffering, and others learn to develop the patience of the holy job. Suffering. The soul always chooses the bumpy road when it comes to its growth. It is because the soul knows that the only way to overcome life's most difficult struggles is to go through them. That's why most people see soul contracts as a curse. Who wouldn't? Simply put, they are unfortunate events in our lives. There are unfortunate events in our lives that causes us nothing but pain. However, as you look deeper, you soon will recognize this particular event as a catalyst for your growth. If you are spiritually advanced, your soul may even understand the event as the soul contracting. It should be clear by now that to experience the full meaning of the soul contracts, one must understand its purpose. These contracts were never meant to hurt us, but to lead us to our higher self. These contracts include people, lessons, and experiences, but will help you reach your destined spiritual awakening. Cicatrization. One of the purposes of soul contracts is to help us heal from toxic patterns and unhealthy behaviors that we may have learned from the past. The lessons we gain from overcoming soul contracts are meant to empower us. They will lead us to the path that the divine has written for us. Soul contracts are guaranteed to strengthen our soul. All human beings exist as spirits before birth and after death, according to Natalie Gordon. There is a pre-existing plan for our soul to live our best and most wonderful life on planet Earth. Since everything is predetermined, it is believed that we choose our own relationships in the form of family members and friends. These soul contracts help us achieve our purpose in life. In short, these people help us learn all things we should have in a human form. These relationships are often said to have soul connections. The people with whom we share soul agreements makes us feel happier during our time on Gaia. However, there are some connections that leave us in absolute pain to help us move forward in life. But love and pain exist in these relationships. It is known as a soul contract. These relationships are something prior to birth and in no way can be avoided during life on the planet. Definition. A soul contract is a non-physical agreement made at the soul level of your consciousness. You most often create them between members of your soul family and soul group before incarnating into a new body, and they can detail all sorts of aspects of your life. We often mistake soul contracts as simply agreements between you and other souls. While this is true to some extent, these contracts are not just about your relationships with others. On Earth and other life-supporting planets, a soul contract is a binding agreement between one or more souls. It is an exchange of energy by fulfilling different roles and functions with each other. In doing so, it creates shared learning experiences throughout scripted dramatic episodes. Challenge. But these contracts are not always positive. In fact, they are designed to create challenges, but ones that will help you grow on a soul level. The point of these deals is that they will provide some sort of lesson that you can integrate and carry forward with you. And to that end, you can and do have more than one soul contract when you enter a new life. Some will be new, while others will be holdovers from past lives that you didn't complete because of your inability or because the circumstances were not right. The main purpose of these contracts, besides maintaining order among souls, is personal accountability. They keep you honest on your trip and make sure you do what you say you will do. They are meant to further your personal progress. Fulfilling soul contracts is ultimately how you raise your frequency, as the more wisdom you can accumulate, the more you can act from your highest intention. This is like a round table where everyone sets the lessons that each needs to learn. Being born on Earth, you will meet these souls as your family, friends, lovers, and even enemies and strangers. They will all play a vital role in your spiritual development. Agreements. What do you include in your soul contracts? You can include almost anything in your soul contracts. They are not always big agreements that will influence the outcome of your life. They can exist on a sliding scale from energy exchanges. You may not know that they serve vital functions in someone's life. Here is a list to give you a rough idea of what might be contracted, although it is far from exhaustive. First one, fulfill family functions. Second, fulfill a role as a friend. Third, subtle energy exchange. Fourth, transmission of knowledge, like me. Fifth, synchronous encounters. Sixth, exchanges of soul code. Seventh, provide healing. Benefits. Now the question remains, what good do your soul contracts bring to our lives? Enhanced relationships. No one is just a passerby in life. Each person, no matter how brief their encounter, is destined to add value to their spirituality. Soul contrast relationships are not different You may have met a partner only to be had in the end. You would think the relationship was wasted, but the truth is that it was made you a better person. Then, by the time you try again to have another relationships, you will have become a more loving, more understanding, and a stronger partner. Power of acceptance. Not all soul contracts relationships last. Most of the time, these people are planted in our lives for the sole purpose of teaching us a lesson. Once they have carried out this purpose, they are supposed to leave us planned. This teaches us the power of acceptance. We are taught that things may not last, and that is okay, that everything is transitory in the world. For our soul to grow, we must learn to let go. What is a karmic contract? When someone comes into your life to teach you a lesson related to your karma or your actions, they are known as your karmic partner, and your relationship is known as a karmic contract. This person is in fact one of the many soulmates you will meet in a single lifetime. These people unconsciously help you learn to be whole. They will also help you see all the emotions that need to be healed before your contract with them ends. Once you learn all the things you need with the help of this person, your contract ends with them and you move on to other things and other people in life. A karmic contract doesn't have to be a lover. It can be a family member, a friend, a parent, anyone anyone with whom you seem to have a strong connection. However, in many cases, it is usually a lover or a friend who turns out to be your karmic partner because the energy exchange is quite intense in this type of relationship. A karmic contract can be with one person or with many. If we don't learn a lesson from one person, the universe will send another one, and keep sending them until we learn our lesson and thus break the pattern so that our soul comes out and breathes. Once you are out of their karmic debt, you will overcome and can use their free will to keep them in your life and or let them go completely from your life. Purpose. The basic purpose of a soul contract is to help each spirit move closer to unconditional love. As a soul, you grow and become your best version on the earth. This requires both love and pain to find your purpose and give you the push you so desperately need to find your tribe in the world. Soul contracts nourish you enough to move forward in life. They give you clarity on what your soul purpose was before you were born. Earth is a dense planet. Therefore, there are many negative emotions attached to everyone who walks on its soil. When you meet your twin flame, some kind of energy of love or pain is channeled between the two of you. This energy helps you in your spiritual growth and helps you discover your talents and gifts. Once you decide the same, you can clearly see your life purpose. Then your energy is made of love and you attract tremendous possibilities in life. This is the purpose of soul contracts, twin flames and soulmates. If you have met any of them and always have in your life, then you should know that it is time for you to seek a major positive life change. What is a spiritual agreement? These agreements are contracts that were made before the incarnation of a body on earth. They are made as spirits before the soul is provided with the physical body. These agreements are predetermined and are meant to neutralize karma or action from past lives or from the past time of the same life. They help balance a person's karma and teach him lessons he wouldn't otherwise learn. These agreements are meant to bring profound and intense changes in our lives. They transform us into a better version of ourselves. These contracts make us feel loved and also cause a lot of pain in our mind and body. However, their contracts were necessary to completely change our energy and help us meet our higher self. There is a spiritual awakening followed by growth at the soul level that wouldn't have been possible if we have not completed or interacted with our spiritual pioneers or angels. Walking souls. A walking is a soul that has entered a host body in place of another soul. This can happen for a number of reasons. There may be a soul contract between the two souls interested in this exchange taking place at a specific time, although this is quite infrequent. A walking can also take a human form if a soul is found to be in violation of universal law. If the soul had been abusing the laws of free will to manipulate their soul's trip, in extreme cases, they may be ejected from the game and sent to source for recycling. When these incoming souls enter their new body, they acquire some, but not all, of the characteristics of the previous soul. They will be influenced by the mental and cognitive abilities of the body, but will bring their own personality and values with them. However, while they bring their own sense of individualism, they retain all the old karma and soul contracts they were replacing. This took place on a large scale in 2013, when a massive number of walk-ins came into thousands of prominent positions of power. The purpose of these souls was to develop karma and fulfill the contracts of the previous holders. This was so that Earth could move further toward the ascension event. Many of these walk-ins reached positions in government, military and banking families. Erasing ancestral agreements. Negative soul contracts can be revoked and sovereignty reclaimed. These ancestral agreements by stating the following 3 times each day out loud and with focused intention. First, I now reject any of all those I accepted to experience the illusion of unconsciousness and separation from source. Second, as the light bearer of my genetic lineage, I break these vows for myself and my ancestors. Third, I declare these vows null and void in this incarnation and in all our incarnations throughout time, space, parallel realities, parallel universes, alternative realities, alternate universes, planetary systems, all source systems and all dimensions. Fourth, I ask for the release of all crystal devices, implants, negative thought forms, limiting emotions, matrices, veils, dark cellular memory, wrong images of reality, genetic limitation, and the illusion of death. Fifth, I break and release these limiting vows and blockades now. Sixth, I am free. Seventh, I am divine. Eighth, I reclaim my natural power and co-create my reality with Source. Then ask your inner Source to fill the voids that remain with harmony, love, joy, happiness, spiritual growth, and prosperity on all levels. Life is a test, but it wouldn't be if you knew the answers. Once you fully awaken and realize that you are an immortal spiritual being having a temporary human experience, you can transcend the illusion of three-dimensional reality and rediscover your bliss. Reflections. Buddha spent a long time throughout meditation to find the end of suffering. The point is, in this age and era, with the rise of inhumanity and atrocities, we don't have enough time left to leave everything behind and explore our inner truth in isolation. If we want to turn humanity's life around, it must happen fast and now. Look around you. People are becoming spiritual in their own chaotic lives. They are meditating within, balancing their chakras, learning healing techniques and talking about souls much more freely. The point is that you can put an end to your suffering, and the way is to be aware of life itself. Final thoughts. A true soul contract is full of twists, turns, and depths. This means that it is by no means easy to enter into a soul contract. It is emotionally and mentally exhausting to leave your old pattern and embrace your new self. However, once you embrace the new and the unknown, you finally give yourself a chance to know yourself. And when that is done, you become absolute love. Once you become love, anyone who needs healing and soul connection with you, if and when they come in contact with you, they will immediately begin their healing process, because yes, once you are healed, you will become their healer. Economy. Short news. Bitcoin falls below $50,000. Other cryptocurrencies sink. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies posted step losses on Friday on concerns that President Biden's plan to raise capital gains taxes will curb investments in digital assets. Wall Street rallies. Stock railed Friday, pushing the S&P 500 to a near-record closing high after factory data and new home sales highlighted a booming economy, while big tech stocks rose in anticipation of the next week's strong earnings report. New York City aims for 100% renewable electricity by 2025. Mayor Bill de Blasio, having solved all the other problems in the city related to the health crisis and the recent outbreak in violent crime, has shifted his focus to making sure the city runs 100% on renewable electricity by 2025. BLM protesters demand white restaurant owners leave the city. Protesters in New York reacted to the Derek Chauvin verdict by harassing diners and demanding that white restaurant owners get out of town. Syria and Ukraine. Targeted energy attacks on U.S. troops in Syria. The Defense Department revealed Thursday that it believes the Russian military targeted U.S. troops in Syria with targeted energy attacks to make them sick and unable to conduct normal operations. Apparently, some U.S. troops occupying the country began reporting flu-like symptoms, prompting investigations into a possible link to microwave or directed energy weapons on the Syrian battlefield. Israel bombs Syria in response to alleged attack on its nuclear power plant in Dimona. At least 4 Syrian army soldiers were wounded Thursday in a bombing by Israeli aircraft outside Damascus. Israel responds to the alleged attack that Syria carried out against the nuclear power plant in Dimona, south of the Jewish state, The target of the bombing in Syria, according to an Israeli military statement, was the missile batteries from which the attack was launched. Senate committee passes bill to increase lethal assistance to Ukraine. Anti-Russia hawks in Congress just ramped up the tension already running high along the Ukraine-Russia border, passing a bill Wednesday that pushes lethal assistance in the form of additional military equipment as well as training for Ukrainian troops. Ukrainian President signs bill to call up reservists. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who recently donned combat gear to join his government's troop on the battle line with the Donbass, addressed the nation Wednesday in a televised speech in which he evoked the specter of Russian troops on his nation's eastern border. What is happening in Ukraine is theater, according to Josh Eaton. Nothing has changed in Ukraine. The situation remains very dangerous. Russia has over 150,000 troops on the border, and 350,000 are backing them up. The US is now considering plans to bring in missiles that could be used against Russia. That's not a good sign. Putin said some troops in the conflict zone would be returned as of May 1st. But that's a week away, and between now and then anything could happen. In fact, they could simply be rotating soldiers on the front lines. Also, he didn't say that tanks and equipment would be withdrawn from the conflict zone. Spain, religious and traditional. This is how Spain is seen outside its borders. Spain is a religious and traditional country, democratic, strong, peaceful, hardworking, tolerant, honest, supportive, trust-inspiring, richer than poor, and more urban than rural, says, in quotes, the later report of the Real Instituto Elcano. The country's image has been damaged after the health crisis, but when it comes to criticizing, Spaniards are the hardest on their nation. The credibility of public institutions has been called into question, and an attitude of pessimism has been adopted. New series of flares of the sun. For the third consecutive day, a series of flares is taking place in the sun's atmosphere, according to the Laboratory of Solar X-ray Astronomy of the Institute of Physics of the Russian Academy of Sciences. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends, and be happy.